Welcome to the fourth floor, the Miami Heat pregame show right here on the Five Reasons Sports Network. I'm the third string point guard, Jonathan, aka Three Piece Combo, and I'm joined by a couple guys. We got the regular Mr. Brady Hawk, we got Alejandro Villegas running the ones and twos, and we got Tony Schwartz, NBA, joining us from the Arena Live. So let's get it started like we normally do. We got a couple sponsorships to thank. So we want to start off with our guys from Biscayne Bay Brewing. They have the best craft beers that are locally grown from South Florida. They have the Regatta Double IPA, the Tropical Bay IPA, which is one of the favorites, the Marlins Lager, which is the official beer of the Miami Marlins, the Pastime Pilsner, Miami Pale Ale, and a La Colada Porter, many other options coming out as well. They're locally brewed, so you want to make sure that you support the people that support the teams you support. You don't want to buy a beer that supports any Celtics or Lakers fans. So make sure you guys support Biscayne Bay Brewing. They even have a couple of stops right there in the arena. So if you're in the Miami Heat arena, whenever the playoffs start during the White Hot playoffs, make sure you get some Biscayne Bay Brewing. And thank you guys, Biscayne Bay, for your support. We also want to thank Mark Brown PA. Make sure you go to his website at markbrownpa.com, helping you with a better future. You know, you never know what's going to happen in such a society where crazy things happen all the time. Make sure you get secured. He's going to take care of you. He's going to make sure that young or old, no matter how big of an asset you have, that everything is going to be taken care of and that all your money is going to be going to the right people. You don't want to leave a bunch of unnecessary drama for the family to fight over if anything were to happen. So make sure Mark Brown takes care of you. Give him a call. He's going to give you a free case evaluation at 954-566-5678. Like I said, 954-566-5678. Thank you, Mark Brown, for sponsoring the pregame show. So let's get into it. We are in the final game of this season. The Miami Heat have locked up the number one seed. And this is a game where we're going to see a lot of people get rest, but we're seeing something that's probably not something we all suspected to see happen, which is Bam Adebayo joining the injury report on health and safety protocols. So Brady, we'll go to you. Who's in? Who's out? What's the status on everything that you know so far?
Yeah, this is one of the games where I don't even think we know everything. Like, there's still many of the questionables that haven't even been fixed, that they're kind of going on the fly. We know that Jimmy Butler's out, that didn't even travel with the team. Deadman's out. Tyler was just ruled out with the knee. And then now Bam is ruled out with health and safety protocols, which is obviously the big conversation, I guess, to be had. But I guess if it's that 5-day period, he should be back by Friday. I know Spo was around there and he came back, I think, maybe even a little sooner. Before a Sunday game in the playoffs. It just, the only thing it may impact is that if they were kind of planning to have any practices this week, that kind of probably throws it off a little bit. But they haven't had many practices this year anyway. They probably had about 5 through an 82 game season at home at least. So that's pretty much it. I think even there was a couple of questionables, including like Omer had an illness. So like, let's just say he's ruled out. The only center they have tonight is Udonis Haslem. So it's just something to keep an eye on.
Yeah, very thin tonight. Like you said, we're not sure on everything. Omer is still day to day. Technically, Haywood Highsmith still out there day to day. Keith, Gabe Vincent. We know PJ with the calf is out. Like you said, Deadman is out. Bam is out. So a very thin front court, which is going to be interesting to match up to see how Orlando comes out, especially on the last game of the season. Are they going to play for a win or are they going to play to tank? So, Tony, you're live from the arena, man. What's the vibes you're getting from in there? There's a lot of Heat fans. What do you see? What's going on?
Yeah, so there's a ton of Heat fans, and the first thing I noticed is Victor is amped up. So I think we're gonna get a healthy dosage of Victor today, which all of us pretty much assume. Um, but I think Miami's gonna play tonight. I think Orlando's gonna play tonight. I don't know, I don't know who's gonna be in that front court rotation, man. Especially if Omer being out the previous game, but the only thing I'm really sure of is we're gonna see the kids. We're gonna see a lot of Victor.
Yeah, and this is one of those games where you're not going to really get much out of it as far as what can happen in the playoffs. But there's a couple of X Factor guys that are going to be playing in this game. You know, potentially Gabe Vincent, Max Struess, Caleb Martin. We're always wondering who's that ninth or 10th man going to be in that rotation. Brady, I'll go to you on this one. With no Tyler Hero, with no Jimmy Butler, no Bam Adebayo. Of course, Kyle might be in there for a little bit. Who do you think kind of starts taking that load, and which one of the three do you think separates himself from the pack tonight?
Games like this, I would probably have to say Max isn't afraid to get shots up. So he just seems like the easy answer because we've just seen in so many games. Gabe's kind of in that conversation too because we've seen even in garbage time when he wasn't in the rotation, he can get shots up. So this is one of those games where it's just guys, young guys playing freely. I think you probably see Michael Mulder or Javante Smart just to get an idea of some of these guys. We've seen that in the past where these two-way contracts at the end of the season, who's this guy Omer Yurtseven that they just signed? And then all of a sudden he's on the roster the next season. So I think that's the primary focus. Surprisingly enough, one of the guys that we're talking about that is not on the injury report for resting that was once a starter is Duncan Robinson. I think he could use this time a lot as well. He needs to get shots up, just try to get some type of confidence before the playoffs. And then obviously the obvious one is Oladipo. And I already know he's going to have probably around 20, and then we have to spend a week before Sunday talking about if he's in the rotation. This is not a really big game. Like, let's just be honest. This is a game where guys, it's just an increased scrimmage, we could say.
Now, to that point, Oladipo, before the season, we were talking about if the trade deadline passes and we don't acquire anybody, he would be kind of our trade deadline acquisition. Now, he hasn't panned out, or I shouldn't say, maybe his timeline hasn't panned out as the way he's recovering and how the way this team is going to have to try to gel together come the playoffs. But tonight is something that we can see going into next season, right? He doesn't, we're uncertain of the contract situation, but there's probably not many teams that want to take a big risk on Victor Oladipo, and I'm sure he's fine staying home since he already took a pay cut once. So, Tony, I'll go to you on this one, man. What do you think we see from Victor Oladipo, and can he do anything at all? I know Brady says probably not. I don't think so either, but can he do anything at all to show us that he can maybe have a small stint in the playoffs?
It just depends on what they feel like he can do as a playmaker. He clearly wants to attack the rim and create that vertical rim pressure, and the offense sometimes desperately needs that. But these new rotations, these new lineups feel like they're creating enough space for us to execute the offense. So to me, you don't want to mess up the continuity. You don't want to mess up the effectiveness of what we've been rolling out night in, night out. I personally don't want to see too much Victor Oladipo going into this playoff series, but I do really want to see him going into next season. I hope that he's one of these guys that we can retain, especially with some of the cap amalgamations that we have to play and Tyler's extension that'll kick in the next year. So if we can get guys cheap and we can get guys like Victor who have so many facets to their game, they're a playmaker, they can attack the rim, they can shoot from three. If you can retain guys like that on cheap contracts, you're doing a really good job as a team. But I think tonight, like Brady said, it's bound to happen. He's going to hoop tonight. This is his former team, a team that is in a similar position to when he left it, a bunch of guards that are all young and hungry. And he's going to show out, and we're going to have those questions about does he play?
Yeah, Alejandro, I'll go to you on this one, man. There were parts during this season where Caleb Martin kind of seemed irreplaceable coming off the bench as far as a guy that's, going to give you, like Tony said, that vertical spacing, the guy that can guard a lot of wings, guard somebody a little bit smaller, give you that full court pressure. But as the season has been winding down, Max Strus has kind of seemed to take that little bit of a lead when it comes to that three-man race between him, Gabe Vincent, and Caleb Martin. So what do you think Caleb Martin brings tonight as far as what he can impact in the games? Because we've seen times when Jimmy Butler is out, Caleb Martin has really good games.
Yeah, I think Caleb Martin gives you a lot more defense than the other two guys. That's for sure. He's a spark from the bench. Maybe not as a scoring threat as Max can be. If Max gets hot, I mean, we've seen it. He can score 20 points in a quarter. Maybe that's not Caleb Martin. But when you get to the grind aspect of the game, I think that's where you bring a guy like Caleb Martin, and he can give you more of that than maybe a Max Strus or any other of the guys that are coming from the bench. So if you ask me what separates him from the rest of the guys coming from the bench, I would say that the grind and defense, and he can also be a guy that can give you some points and maybe even wake the team up at some points, because what I've seen this season is that sometimes the team is just like too comfortable, not taking risks on offense, just like passing the ball around. Nobody wants to really go for it. And Caleb Martin is one of those guys that can really go and attack the rim if necessary, or take a three if necessary. So that's what I would say about that.
Yeah, that's a good point. Hoba Paharis asking a really good question. Who's the random scrub heat killer tonight? Tony, you're in the building. I'll let you give us a shot. Who's the random scrub heat killer tonight?
Hey, man, how many minutes is Terrence Ross playing tonight? It seems like it's always Terrence, but and he's not much of a scrub. It can be anybody. Somebody's got to score points for the Magic tonight. A lot of these guys are bottom of the roster for a lot of other teams, so they're going to be trying to put out good tape. They have some continuity. The Magic just came off a great game. I don't know, though. I'm going to stick with Terrence Ross, I think. I just feel like he'll drop 30 on us tonight for some reason.
Yeah, so last thing before we get to the picks, for some reason we see Kyle Lowry in this game, right? In a game that we probably shouldn't
It's
see him.
crazy. It's crazy.
you want him to get that rest, right? But you still want to get him some continuity. But the problem is there's nobody for him there to get continuity with. Like he's just getting continuity with a bunch of bench guys. Brady, what do you think the Miami Heat is playing him for? And what do you think we see from Kyle Lowry tonight? Do we see a lot from him, or is it just a little bit to get started and kind of see something else in the second half?
Yeah, I think it's possible that we still don't see him. Like I feel like there's still a possibility at the last second he doesn't play. Uh, but it also could be that we have not heard about those questionable tags, that maybe they're getting the 8 available players or something crazy along those lines. I doubt it, because they have the two-way players here, that it's hard to see that they don't have those available players. But it doesn't make much sense to me why they would play Kyle. I don't think he's one of those guys that needs reps. He's somebody that can ramp up pretty quickly. We've seen that this season. When he goes out for a 2-week period, he comes back and he's pretty much at the same level. I think the only reason he's here, he said it before, was he hinted at not playing at this game, even in the last game. And he just said he was just getting ready for the Masters on Sunday more than he was this game, because he was just into that. So I don't see a reason why he plays. And it could be maybe a Drew Holiday where he checks in, gets a foul, and checks out. But I think it is a thing where he kind of just, if anything, he probably plays the first half and probably doesn't play the second half.
Awesome, man. So let's get into the picks, guys. This is a kind of a weird game. You know, Miami doesn't really have much playing. But Orlando is not playing for winnings either, right? They're trying to get the best potential pick they can get. I'm not sure if they necessarily locked up a spot yet, but losing as many games as possible is ideal for them, especially if they want to continue to draft more centers and continue to build the biggest team in NBA history. So, Tony, I'll start with you with this man. Who wins tonight, and who's the leading scorer for the Miami Heat?
Look, man, give me Miami. I think that I think Kyle's playing tonight because they really want that tiebreaker with the Golden State Warriors in case they play him in the finals. It's all nonsense. I have no idea why Kyle's playing, but it's looking like Victor's gonna get a lot of play tonight. So I'm gonna take Victor Oladipo here. I will tell you, I have a sneaky suspicion Duncan's just gonna drop like 6 threes today too. So it could be Duncan Robinson.
Ready?
Yeah, I think it's going to be Gabe Vincent. Even if, let's say he's not starting, I think there's a potential, as I said before, he probably starts the second half. But we've seen so many times where I think him and Max aren't afraid to get shots up. And I think you mentioned the 3 guys, Caleb, Max and Gabe are kind of the 3 that are bunched together so constantly. And they're the 3 that are in conversations of the rotation. Right now, Gabe's probably 3rd. And there was times early in the season, even midway through the season, Max was pretty far in 3rd. And it was funny because on the podcast, I used to say, it's basically going to be by game 82 who's playing the best, because we've seen each one of them at the top of the top 3 at one point or another. Gabe right now is probably in that 3rd slot that I think he's going to probably try and get some buckets out there. I think he ends up being the leading scorer.
Yeah, man, I'm going to have to disagree just a little bit with you there. You mentioned Max Strus earlier getting up shots, and that kind of put the bug in my ear. I think Max Strus is probably the leading scorer, after having him start. I'm not sure if they started him because of, the Duncan struggles, or are they using that as a Tyler Hero placeholder? But I think he's going to get a lot of shots up. I think he leads the team in scoring. I do think Miami gets it done. But I think it'll be a fun game. I think this is going to be a fun game because you're going to see a lot of young guys that are still on the back end of the roster for both teams trying to make an impact. So let's not count on these guys just giving us a good scrappy game. I'm sure we might have some interviews. So Alejandro, give me your pick and take us home on any interviews that we got, man.
Yeah, we have Eric Spoelstra talking today, and our friend Tony Schwartz almost got there and interrupted that situation there. I think the Miami Heat gets this win. I mean, like you guys said, the Orlando Magic is not really playing for anything but just getting a good spot in the lottery. So I'm sorry for Tony. Hope it's a great game in basketball, but we're probably not looking into the best game of the season or anything like that. So I'm going with the Heat. That's it.
Awesome, man. So I want to thank Brady Hogg for joining us, Tony Schwartz for joining us from the arena. Of course, you can find me on Twitter at 3Piece Combo. Alejandro, take it away, man. Appreciate everybody from joining the pregame, and make sure you guys check out the halftime and the postgame as well.
There you go. Thank you, Jonathan, for hosting the pregame show. Let's continue with Eric Spoelstra. But before, let's talk a little bit about the standings. The Miami Heat already clinched the first spot in the Eastern Conference. As you guys know, the Bucks are 2.5 games behind and half of a game ahead of the Celtics and Sixers. Let me see who they play today. Sorry. Quick. So besides the Sixers are playing the Pistons today at 7 as well. And the Celtics are playing the Memphis Grizzlies. So pretty good games today to see how the standings finish in the Eastern Conference. Tony also mentioned the Miami Heat wanted to clinch that third best record. Remember, the Suns have the best record in the NBA with 64 and 17. The Grizzlies already clinched the second best record with 56 and 25. Now, it doesn't matter what happens tonight. The Warriors come third in the Western Conference with 52 and 29. The Heat right now they have a record of 23 and 53 and 28, so they have one game advantage there. And let me see who are the Warriors playing tonight, real quick. Let me check real fast here. They're playing the Pelicans today at 9:30 p.m. So they will probably even know the result from this game before they start their game tonight. And the Miami Heat can clinch that third best record, which, like the guy said, if the Warriors make it to the finals, the Miami Heat make it to the final as well. That could be of help for Miami. So a couple of my messages before we go to Eric Spoelstra and we say goodbye and prepare to watch the game. Magic tanking, I think. Julbert says Max Drew step back threes, the same as Heroes transition threes. Subject to discuss later, maybe. And Jay Smith says tonight marks the end of another season. Just wanted to take this time to shout out and appreciate you all. Much love. Thank you, Jay. Thank you from the entire team on 5 Reasons. It's been a great season to share with you guys, and it's an honor to be here and to produce so much content about Miami teams, or Charlotte, Florida teams. So thank you very much for your support, for being there. We are on our way to 18,000 subscribers here on the 5 Reasons YouTube channel, and that's thanks to all of you. We're looking to grow a lot more with you guys and to give you more and more insights and content from all the Miami teams. And thank you all for your support. So we'll continue our job here on 5 Reasons YouTube channel. Thank you, Jay, and thank you to everybody that's been around with us this season. Let's continue. Remember, today at halftime, the halftime show as well as usual on Twitter, and the post-up show to wrap up the entire season and look at the possible matchups for the Miami Heat in the playoffs, waiting also for what's going on in the play-in tournament as well. Okay, let's go with Eric Spoelstra next to see what he's saying about this particular matchup to finish the season against the Orlando Magic. Here we go.
Could you maybe clue us in on what the approach is going to be tonight? Who's in, who's out? If Maddox won't tell us.
Yeah, we're working through that right now. We will have enough guys out there playing. It will not be our full contingent, and we'll manage the minutes the best that we can. But this will be a really good opportunity for our young guys and the guys that haven't been playing.
Eric, you got the rare opportunity this week to sit and watch play-in games that will affect your team in the playoffs. But on the other hand, you also have a chance to excel in all that. How much attention will you pay to the play-in games? And will you sort of be like the rest of us, just focused on each of those games Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday?
Yeah, I think it'll be good entertainment. Our video room and scouting department, but we'll be watching with a different lens and I'll be watching it. I don't want to stress myself out on all the different possibilities, before we actually get to know who we play. But I think we're all fans of the game and the playoff atmosphere. I think the play-in has really created, some really compelling matchups and a lot of, opportunities to compete where I think teams would have in recent years probably just fell out of the race and tried to play for ping pong balls.
I know coaches can be persnickety at times. There's a chance you won't find your opponent until about 10 o'clock on Friday, and a chance you could start the playoffs in the 3 o'clock hour on Sunday. Does that make it that much tougher, or is there just an appreciation that, hey,
our life in the NBA all season long? You typically have a shoot around or maybe a day before to prepare for somebody. Whoever will be in the East, we've played them 3 or 4 times already. That'll be ample prep, to be able to get ready for game one. And then once you get past game one, it becomes much different anyway. But this is what the 6 months of a regular season are there for, is to build all the appropriate habits, hopefully, to get you ready for that second season, regardless
Thank
of
you,
who the
Eric.
opponent is.
Oh, thank you.
All right, we're good on Zoom. So if there are any in the room, go ahead.
All right.
That was the press conference from Eric Spoelstra. Again, Bam Adebayo out because of health and safety protocols. Let me see if the Miami Heat has posted anything else besides that information, just to confirm before we say goodbye for the pregame show this season. Let me see. Okay, this was the update 43 minutes ago. But that's what we discussed earlier. Dwayne Dedman out because of his ankle. Tyler Hero, his knee, and Bam Adebayo because of the health and safety protocols. They are not playing tonight at Orlando. So that's about it. That's information that we have right now. And that's what we're going to say goodbye with. So thank you very much again for all of you that have been here with us throughout the Miami Heat season. Remember, we're going to be back with more pregame shows for the first round of the Eastern Conference playoffs, of course, and we're going to be doing in-game content. So we're going to be watching the game along with you guys, and you guys can comment here. We can exchange ideas, discuss what's going on about the game, what should Eric supposed to do, what do you guys have liked or disliked about the game, and all of that. We're going to be doing that live here during the playoffs on the 5 Reasons YouTube channel. I'm going to be hosting it. You guys are welcome to come in and share your experience as well. So, and if you do it with a Bitcoin Bay on your hands, that's even better. So looking forward to that and to sharing with you guys during these games. Let's read a couple of messages before we go. Michael Morrison says, can't sleep on Orlando. They lost to the Suns by a buzzer beater. And our friend Raziel says, super psyched to see everyone in the playoffs. Let's go here. That's right. So we're ready. We're ready for the playoffs, and we will see you guys maybe later here on the 5 Reasons YouTube channel for the post-game show. And then, of course, we'll have all the interviews, but the post-game interviews and probably a podcast of 5 on the Floor tomorrow morning. And that's it for today. Have a good night. Enjoy the game, and we'll see you later tonight on the 5 Reasons YouTube channel. Bye-bye.